Unfortunately for Hayley, all she got was a yard full of ponies. She loved making concoctions. Head and Shoulders mixed with toothpaste. This is even stranger when he found out that she was 17 at the time. You could always spot Hayley, as she invariably wore her Stars jumper. For school, for Sunday school, for riding in, and even to bed. She wanted fatter legs, so she'd wear 2 pairs of socks. One day, Hayley fell foul of it.
Take them off, Hayley, take them off.
She fell out with an old school friend, somebody Oglesby. And she locked her in an old wardrobe, and then pushed the wardrobe over with the door facing downwards. The poor girl has never recovered. And Hayley, after 45 years, she's here tonight. When the girl was locked away, Hayley decided to cut the full-length curtains into half, and then tried to hide the fact that she'd done it. Naughty girl. Hayley has always been a gregarious girl, and she hated being on her own. Every night she went round to her sisters, asking each of them if she could share their bed. At 3 in the morning, that didn't go down well with her siblings. Hayley attended Preston Primary and then on to South Holderness. She didn't have to go to school on Tuesdays in winters. She went hunting, and that with the headmaster's permission. As a young girl, she could often be seen dangling from her father's outstretched arms as she attempted to clear the drains that had been blocked by the slaughterhouse waste. Now, most of us will run away from home at least once in our life, and Hayley was no exception. When she was about 10, she packed a bag with everything she needed. A banana. Oh, I missed that bit. And on reaching Blacksmith's Arms, she turned round and went back home. Most of you know that Hayley used to ride horses, but there's much more to it than that. She was a very talented and courageous rider. Nothing fazed her, and she was fearless. And at one time she may have had as many as 15 that she was either riding, breeding, or bringing on to sell. Hayley had a few boyfriends, but none of particular note. Until she started going out with the Ginger Adonis. On her first visit to Bill and Irons, she wore their tighty, skinny jeans. And as she sat down, little button shapes were showing through around the tops of her legs, because underneath the jeans, Hayley had her stockings and suspenders on. Alan, Hayley's father, pulled over one evening when Simon and Hayley were in a gateway. On being asked what they were up to, Hayley insisted, "We were just talking." A likely story. And it came as a great surprise to me when I learned that Hayley ended up in Hull Royal on after her hen night. She'd had an uncomfortable time having her stomach pumped out, and she was still very ill the next morning. And as the nurse brought her around in a wheelchair, she said, "Well, Mrs. Jones," and that was Hayley's mum, "how often does this happen?" And so Hayley Jones married Simon Johnson in Preston on the 10th of August 1985. They honeymooned in Jersey. Hayley had been a little disappointed when Simon admitted that he was not a virgin. But she cheered up later and advised her new husband that at least to her, sheep didn't count. It wasn't long before her first child was born, a lovely son, Oliver. Then a few years later, the family was complete with the arrival of Max. I know that both boys are an extreme credit to Hayley and Simon, and it's a great shame that my friend Max can't be here tonight. I met Simon and Hayley through the boys' football teams, and both Oliver and Max have played for teams that I've managed. We had some great trips to Droning in Holland, And we're fortunate one year when my team, that included Oliver, got a late invitation. Hayley and Simon were brilliant, both organising the trip and ensuring that 15, 16-year-olds didn't wreak havoc in Holland. I'm not sure who were the most relieved, us or the Dutch. When Max played for me under 17, Hayley was what great assistance to me and somehow managed to get most of the players to pay their subs. Shows what a thug she was. And one year in Holland, Hayley was staying with Sharon Crane at Yvette's house, a house that was being renovated. Somehow the pair got locked in the room. Fortunately, she managed to ring Simon, who made contact with Yvette, and they got released. Oh, like they could have still been there now. Hayley's always great company, and Elaine and I have really enjoyed our trips to York races for the Dante meeting. The Ebor restaurant is hospitality at its best, but one year something must have been off, as Hayley became ill on the way home. She managed to hold off being sick until we reached Bishop Burton, where she left a lovely pavement pizza, the remnants of which are now a local tourist attraction. As my car was less than a month old at the time, I was relieved when we reached the end of their drive, only for Hayley to shout, "I need you to stop, now!" I was actually less shocked than her uncle, who looked up from mowing the grass to see Hayley projectile vomiting. In 2010, Hayley and Simon had a great holiday to Australia with Andrew and Karen, and they managed to get tickets for the Melbourne Cup, which I know was a lifelong ambition of Hayley's. But with torrential downpours, the day was rather spoiled. And so, Hayley, next Friday sees you reach the half-century, but please do not despair, life goes on. We all hope that we see an improvement in your knee, so that we can see you hitting the dance floor again, perhaps with Sharon Crane, when Meatloaf's Paradise by the Dashboard Light gets played. Hayley is Simon's sweetheart. The only thing that irritates him about her is apparently the noise she makes when she eats an apple. And that disclosure last New Year didn't go down too well with our hearers. And as Simon was sat next to Hayley at the time, he got a bit of a battering. Simon may be an undemonstrative person, but there's one thing I know for sure. He loves you to bits. Now the end. I really wanted to finish off with something special. I thought maybe the derivation of the name Hayley. Apparently it's from the Old English for hay clearing. So nothing very exciting there then. Then I thought I would remind you what a lovely daughter, sister, mother, wife and friend you are. I thought you might cry. And then I thought, what single adjective would I use to describe Hayley Johnson? And the word that immediately sprung to mind was vivacious. And this proved a winner, because when I looked that up in the dictionary, the synonyms, similar words, were vibrant, lively, bubbly, cheerful, energetic, effervescent and spirited. That's the Hayley we all love and know. So let's ensure she has a great birthday celebration to remember, and let's raise our glasses to Hayley and 50 years more. Yay!